You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Welcome to the One More for the Good Guys podcast, where good guys gather to shed light on the good life, the people, and the good things that make it that way. I'm Mike McGill with my co-host, Jamie Akins. Now, raise your glass, lend us your ear, and let's have one more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Hey, everybody. Mike McGill here with my good friend
Jamie Akins.
We're One More for the Good Guys. We're back for another episode of the One More for the Good Guys podcast. Today, we were thinking about different things to talk about, and it being the time of year that it is, and opening day has came and gone, and we're into the first full month of baseball now.
Yeah, first 20% I read today.
We decided that we would come up with our all-time, how do I want to say this? Our all-time starting roster.
Yeah. 1970 or later.
Yeah, 1970 and later. People that we actually seen play, that we know about, as well as, so what we're going to do is pick all the position players. We'll have two relief pitchers, and we'll have a starting pitching rotation of 4 pitchers. Is that right? And a DH.
Yeah.
Now that we're in the rules of
all the position players, 4 starters, 2 relievers, and a closer.
There you go.
Yeah. And then, of course, we had bench players in the same positions, which we'll talk about as we go through the positions. Now, one thing to not to take this for granted, because we're baseball crazy like we are with cigars and too many other subjects for that matter, but baseball, okay? In baseball, there are 9 players playing at a time in the field. Okay, yeah. Fact number 1. So you have first, second, third baseman, shortstop, 3 outfielders, a pitcher, and a catcher. Okay. Also, that's on the defensive side. The same players are on the offensive side, except for the pitcher now in both leagues. Used to be DH was only in the American League until recently. So now the pitchers do not bat in either league, American League and National League. And Major League Baseball is made up of 2 leagues, National League and American League. In those leagues, there are 3 divisions apiece. Is that right? Or did I just tell that wrong?
No, you got the Central, the West, and the East.
Yeah, 3 divisions apiece. So none of that really matters. What you need to understand about baseball is this: we love it. And we're going to tell you some of our favorites because it's baseball season. Tennessee baseball is number 1. See that?
Yes, and the softball program is number 2.
Yep. Going into the postseason. Softball won the SEC regular title 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, this is an amazing stat I heard about them the other day. They were 40-9 at the time I heard this stat. They had won 40-9, and they had won all 8 SEC series that they played during the season. That's unheard of.
Yeah. And what that means is, say a series is 3 games. In order to win the series, you got to win a 2 out of 3. Sometimes a series might be 4 games, so the 3 out of 4. So in order to win your series, you got to win the majority of those games in that series. So I just keep conscious for me is that a lot of people don't know anything about baseball. And so, probably need to be just spoon feed a little bit.
Yeah, preface that a little bit.
But it's a game we love. Grew up playing it, grew up watching it. Personally, it is my favorite team sport by a long shot. It's not even close. You've heard us kid back and forth. Mike's a Cubs fan, I'm a Yankees fan. But the truth of it is we're both baseball fans, just in general, because it's just something we grew up with. So to use our tagline, without any further ado, what position you want to start with? You want to start with first baseman?
Well, I want to first ask you, what are you smoking?
Oh, yeah. Well, today I am smoking the Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary. Nicaraguan. And this is a collaboration with Rafael Nodal and AJ Fernandez.
Number 2 cigar of the year.
Yeah, in 2021, number 2 cigar of the year. I told you earlier I thought this was the Bellicoso, but it wasn't. This was not of that original batch.
Okay.
I must have had this separate because this was definitely...
must have got it in a club or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Mr. Toro.
The first time I ever had them, I picked some up at JR's in person. They had them on sale. And, man, I'm not a huge Monte Cristo fan in general. But these I am.
Those are a hell of a cigar,
fantastic cigar.
So sweet.
And very, very approachable for new people.
Yeah.
You're not going to get overwhelmed with this, but you're going to get a lot of flavor. Lots of just bang in your mouth. Yeah. So
and that's a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, I think, which is very rare these days. Due to some of the bad weather and different things that's affected the growing, because they grow those in the Connecticut River Valley. But yeah, Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. Straight up Nicaraguan fillers, I think.
It is. Straight up Nicaraguan fillers.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over your
No. I'm just looking at it to see
while you were looking.
You're the guru on the all the, what am I trying to say?
I'm extra nerdy.
Yeah.
On the wrapper binder fillers.
But this is really in my palate. This is my wheelhouse. I love Nicaraguan tobacco. Love it. I love Connecticut broadleaf. One of the reasons I love Connecticut broadleaf more than anything else is that you never have a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper unravel on you.
No.
I've never had that happen.
Well, and one of the big reasons why is that's a much thicker leaf.
Yeah. This thing feels
much
like
more
leather.
Durable.
Yeah. As opposed to a Connecticut shade wrapper, which is much lighter, much thinner.
Very, very thin.
And just completely the opposite from a resistance to peeling and resistance to burning, just very thin. But indeed grown in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
Which you don't normally think of a northern area like that to produce tobacco, but certainly does. So this is one of my
very sought after, the Connecticut River Valley, the true American Connecticut broadleaf, very sought after.
Yes, and true Connecticut shade as well. So much so that to supplement the Connecticut shade, a lot of it's grown in Ecuador now,
which I kind of like. You can tell there's a real dead giveaway that you can tell usually. Now, I won't say this is 100% all the time accurate, but most of the time on a Connecticut wrapper, and we'll smoke a couple of Connecticut's the next time around.
Yeah.
Different ones. One maybe from Nicaragua or Ecuador or something different.
Well, I smoked that on the other show. I smoked that champagne. That's a Connecticut shade. So,
but a real easy thing that you can look at is on the Connecticut's the Ecuadorian Connecticut's have a real rich honey caramel brown type color, and the American shade, the Connecticut grown wrapper from America has a very almost it's much more pale.
Yeah.
It's more pale and sometimes can almost even be a little green looking to a degree.
It really can. It's close to Candela, very similar. I always, for some reason, the Connecticut shade always puts me in the mind of an old paper bag at the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's got that lighter.
Yeah.
But either way, this is a must smoke. I highly recommend these.
Wonderful cigar.
And the Monte Cristo brand is super, super, super respected, especially the Cubans. So don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot to like about Monte Cristo. It's just not my thing normally.
Usually in the New World Monte Cristos, and when I say New World, I mean the ones that are made in North America, or not in Cuba, the non-Cubans.
Right.
They're all non-Cuban cigars are normally considered New World cigars. They can be they can kind of be like Cohiba, New World Cohibas. They can often be much more expensive because of the name and not always deliver, if that makes good sense.
That's exactly right.
But this cigar
delivers
every time.
Yep.
Burn, flavor, quality, construction, all of it. Just super, super, super good cigar.
Yeah, nearly close to perfect smoke.
Yeah, really, really good. I am smoking a Don Pepin Garcia Blue. In the, I believe they call this the, is this the Invictus? No, that's a son of a bitch. There went that. I believe this is like a Corona Gorda. So it's, but I had it pulled up, what they actually call it. I'll find it for you where you'll know the actual name.
And we throw out these names like everybody, Don Pepin Garcia is who we call Yoda. He's the cigar Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And his son, I call him Jamie, but I'm assuming it's Jaime Garcia.
Yeah.
But that's the My Father outfit, My Father cigars. So
Don Pepin is the father of that outfit. Yeah. Cuban immigrant, came over. One of the few now that the dad Padron has passed. Probably one of the last living original old school guys of that age and caliber, besides Carrillo. And I think he's a little bit younger than those guys. But
Carrillo, I'd say so.
But Don Pepin is one of the true master blenders. They do My Father cigars. They do the Don Pepin. This is the original. This is the blue label. This is in the Exquisitos size.
Exquisitos.
Which for you folks is probably like a Corona Gorda, which is 5.5 by 46. So it's a very Cuban-esque size.
Very much so.
A little smaller ring gauge, but really enjoyable smoke. Corojo wrapper. You guys know I love my Corojo wrappers, and Nicaraguan binder and fillers. So scored a 93 way back when. Still probably one of their best sellers.
Proceed with caution, though. That one's stronger than
it.
This
is
one.
A little stout. Yeah, it is a little stouter.
The best thing about them, besides the fact that they're just fantastic, is they're not expensive either.
No, you can find deals on them.
Yeah.
You got to look a little, but you can find you some deals on them. But
it's almost like the ones that bear the family name Garcia are cheaper than the My Father ones.
Yeah.
But same blend, same people.
Yeah. And you're drinking an MGD. Just a regular beer.
With a Harley Kimbrough Lewis.
Oh. Your law firm. And notice it's not and Lewis.
That's correct.
And I'm having a little bit of Bushmills Blue Irish whiskey,
which is fantastic.
It's very good,
man.
And next time we do one, we'll also do a little pairing thing to where we can tell you a little bit about that.
All you whiskey drinkers out there, if you're not drinking Bushmills and you're drinking the other Irish whiskey in comparison, the Bushmill Blues will blow you away.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's harder to find, but damn. Okay, so baseball. Very important to us. Yes, it's just a game, but is it? We put together our list, and we did this last year. We put this together last year, and I don't think there's been anything on my end to make me want to change my folks. And the reason we picked, look, baseball's been around for 150 years. All the top lists of all time, the greatest ball players of all time, a lot of those folks were dead long before we were born. Babe Ruth died in the 40s. Gehrig, Cobb. I mean, the list goes on, all these folks, Satchel Paige. I read a Willie Mays story today about Satchel Paige and how good he was.
Willie Mays turned 94 just the other day.
Willie said in 1948 that Paige was pitching to him and he got a hit on him. And Paige went over to the somebody on his team and said, "Tell me again when that young fella gets up." So he got up and he told him, he said, "I'm going to throw 3 fastballs and you're going to sit down." And he threw 3 fastballs and Willie Mays sat the hell down. He said it was just incredible. So those guys are not on our list because,
we didn't get to see them play.
Well, everybody does that list. If you want to see the greatest ball players of all time, there's plenty of lists. This is one more for the good guys, greatest ball players in our era, right?
And right, wrong, or indifferent. Again, this is just the teams we're going to put out.
Yeah, that's right.
We did not conspire on any of these as far as we didn't talk about what our picks were going to be and who our picks were going to be. So I don't know. They may double. We may have a few positions that double, but where are we starting? We starting with our starting pitchers, or where are we starting? Let's
start with the first base.
Okay.
I have that listed that way to make it easier for me to.
Who you got? Okay,
well, this was hard for me because we're not picking our favorite ball players of all time. That's a completely different list, right? If we were picking. Like my sentimental favorite first baseman of all time is also my favorite ball player of all time, and that's Don Mattingly. But is Don Mattingly the greatest first baseman that we've seen since 1970? No, he's not. So this was a hard one because there's so many superstars playing first. I went with Albert Pujols. Now, let me preface this by saying I despise the St. Louis Cardinals with a passion.
Yes.
Okay. Not Red Sox hate.
I second that.
But pretty close. Okay. But the guy, over 3,000 hits. Was he over 700 home runs too?
Well,
pretty close.
May I?
Yes,
because I chose Albert Pujols as well.
Great.
NL Rookie of the Year in 2001, 6-time NL Silver Slugger in 01, 03, 04, 08, and 10. 3-time NL MVP, 05, 08, 09. 2-time NL Gold Glove, 06 and 10. And 9-time NL All-Star in 01, 03 through 10.
And
AL All-Star in 15. 2 World Series, of course, with
St. Louis.
Those
2. All right.
3,384 hits, 3,384 hits, 703 home runs.
Wow.
And a 296 batting average lifetime.
Never been accused of juicing.
No.
Ever.
Incredible ball player.
And what made me pick him is how many baseball games have we watched? Thousands?
Bunches.
How many at bats? 100,000 at bats? Albert Pujols had the greatest at bat that I ever witnessed. Ever. Don't remember who it was back during that time when he was it. late 2000s, mid 2000s. And I was just mesmerized at how intense and concentrated he was. And he went like 12 pitches deep and then hit like a double or something. And it wasn't anything like that. Just anybody watching it would be like, oh man, greatest at bat I ever saw.
Yeah.
And the guy's a class act too, man. I mean, there's a lot to be said for being a good guy. I mean, that's in our name of our show. So, but Albert Pujols, it's funny you picked him too, considering all the great players. My backup guy, my second tier first baseman was Frank Thomas, Eddie Murray, and then Miguel Cabrera are my top four.
Oh man, Miguel, yeah. Cabrera was a beast. Great first baseman. Second base?
Yeah, you go.
Second base, I got this guy was a 10-time NL All-Star. 1966, 70, and 72 through 79. All-Star MVP in 1972. 5 NL Gold Gloves, 73 through 77. 2-time NL MVP, 75 and 76. And 1 National League Silver Slugger, 82. And a Hall of Fame in 1990. Won 2 championships with the Big Red Machine. And his career stats were, looks like, had 2,517 hits, 268 home runs, and 1,133 RBIs. That fellow would be Joe Morgan.
Well, like you said when we started, we did not collaborate at all on this. Also, one thing that's not on the stat line and probably not in there, one of the voices of baseball for us growing up.
For ESPN, and Joe Morgan and John, what was that guy's name? It'll come to me in a minute.
But I can, of course, Joe passed away, last year or something. It's not been that long. And but I can still hear his voice. Mm-hmm. He's got one of those distinctive voices. It's like you hear Bob Uecker, that's Bob.
Yeah.
And Joe was just great in the booth.
John Miller.
Joe's great in the booth.
They did the ESPN baseball night for, many seasons. Joe got into the booth way back when, too, with like Garagiola and Scully and who was the other big guy that was with national guy that did some games? I'll think of that in a minute as well. Any rate.
That being said, that's who I picked too. Joe Morgan.
Incredible player.
And it's funny, that's one of the greatest teams of all time. And of course, I didn't get to see them play during what they call the Big Red Machine. I've seen a lot of replays, but my dad did.
Yeah.
And heard him talk about them and how just dominant they were.
Yeah.
But who did you have as your second tier guy?
I don't think I have that written down, but off the cuff, second baseman, probably Sandberg.
Yeah, I had Sandberg in my list too.
I mean, either one of those could be right there. But,
another class act too.
Yeah.
Coached the Smokies for a while, managed the Smokies.
Yeah.
I got his autograph actually.
No kidding.
While he was doing that.
Joe didn't retire till 82. So, we got to watch some of his games. I got to see some of them in later years because Cincinnati you did get to see the Reds play on Sundays or Saturdays. Usually they'd show a game like that on regular TV. But then, of course, getting cable in 83 was the big eye opener, and that's obviously started my love with the Cubs because I could come in from school and there was baseball on because they didn't play a night game till 88. So
That's right.
every ball game there was during the daytime, and
that was on WGN,
WGN,
which was also the home of Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
So you got to watch Bozo at 4:00.
There you go.
And throw those damn ping pong balls into those buckets.
Yeah.
And I always thought, man, I'd win this every time. But it's harder than you think, I bet. But yeah, you know, when Fox 43, when Channel 43 came into our area, and the Fox network, I guess, was created. I don't know the history on that, but we could get the Reds games because they carried them. And, but that was a little later. That was Eric Davis era, 85, you know, Rose was still there. So yeah, I had Sandberg as 3, but and I hate this bastard. So they just know this hurts me to put this guy on this list, but my number 2 guy is Robbie Alomar. Even though he spit on somebody and pissed me off, but defensive all around, of course, he's Hall of Famer as well.
And could hit for power.
Great defensively.
Which is not very typical for a second baseman.
But God, he played for the Toronto Blue Jays and the Orioles.
Yeah.
I mean, just sticking it to my Yankees every chance he got. But Sandberg was number 3 for me. All right, so we're 2 for 2 on a non-collaborative list. Shortstop. Well, this was hard. This is an argument that gets made on every social media page about baseball I've ever seen. I'm a Yankees fan. My homer guy, I had to put it number 2. My number 1 guy is Cal Ripken.
No.
For that era.
Yeah,
you know,
a great
that's if you went way back to beginning, you got to throw in Honus Wagner or somebody like that. But all around, Ripken was, first of all, he was, you know, the Iron Man.
Yeah.
Broke Gehrig's record. Hit for power, hit for average, and very underrated defensively. I wanted to put Jeter there. And Jeter doesn't get the love because everybody that is not a Yankees fan hates him. But Jeter's number 6 all time in hits, right? He's got 5 World Series.
Yeah.
But I still had to put Cal Ripken first. And that's just the way it is. That's my guy.
Yeah. I couldn't. I mean, I had a tough time on this one as well. You know, Cal was the Iron Man record was it's the longest stretch of consecutive games that was played by anyone in baseball, which he played 2,632 consecutive games. That in itself is unfucking believable. You think about going to work 2,632 consecutive days and never calling in sick one time. Never saying, oh, I got some PTO, or me and we're going to go to the beach this week, or we're going to take a vacation. No, there was none.
No.
I mean, that in itself is a feat among that. I think that's a record that obviously will never be broken in the history of baseball again.
Well, not with all these rest days everybody's taking.
No.
For sure. It's not going to happen.
No. Oh, get it straight. Load management.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got a load they can manage.
You're right. Yeah.
Any rate, I digress. I'll be nice. My shortstop, and as bad as this I hate to admit this, because let me tell you, there is no one out there. You shut your mouth. There's no one out there that has a burning white heat of hot hatred for this fucking New York Yankees than I do. But I always respected this guy. And I always thought if he took the field, he was probably the best player out there, regardless if it was against one of my teams or he was a Yankee. It didn't matter. I got Jeter at short.
Wow. God.
Career batting average of .310, amassed over 3,400 hits.
6th all time, right?
Yeah, 260 career home runs. Along with that, he was a 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champ, World Series MVP in 2000, 5-time Gold Glove winner, and 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner. He also owns numerous postseason records, including having a career batting average in the World Series of .321.
Clutch, man.
Clutch.
And he gets, you got to admit that if you hate the Yankees like you do, and you still pick him.
That play at home, off that relay throw, catches it and backhands it to save the winning run. I mean, unbelievable player. Unbelievable player.
Very, and everybody else argues different. I think he's the most underrated player of all time. Maybe. Because everybody, look, I know, hate the Yankees. I get it. I understand. If I hadn't grown up watching them, I'd probably hate them too. But here's the thing.
If you had a mother and father who really loved
That's
you,
true. That
you
too.
would have grown up to hate them.
Yeah, I would have really, I was abused as a child, forced to watch it. So
No excuse.
no excuse. What do you ask somebody to do? Okay, you want somebody to bat for average? Okay. You want somebody to have longevity? Great. You want somebody to be adequate in the field, and he was more than adequate in the field. Do you want somebody to win championships? He checks all those boxes, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
How about you be a class act and not go to jail? There's another box you check.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, anybody that says Jeter doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, tell that person they don't know shit.
No.
Because they do not know shit.
No, he's a first ballot.
Yeah, Jeter was my second. And that
I did think that captain thing was kind of stupid, though.
the show, the documentary.
Well, I thought the documentary was fine, but just them calling it the captain, that was kind of like, that's a New York thing. I'm not going to know him as the captain.
No.
But anyway, that's, potatoes.
Yeah. All right. So shortstop, I went first. It's third base. What you got there?
Oh, okay. Man, this is the only guy I could think of. Lots of really great shortstops. Third basemans. Lots of people I really liked. So there was a lot of ways I could go here, but there was only one third baseman to pick. And that's Mike Schmidt from the Phillies. Played 17 seasons in MLB with the Phillies and collected over 2,200 career hits. 12-time All-Star, World Series champion, and MVP in 80. 3-time National League MVP, 10-time Gold Glove Award winner. That tells you something on the hot corner. And 6-time Silver Slugger Award winner. So to me, there was, and as far as the stud on third base during that era of watching baseball, it was Mike Schmidt all day long.
Oh, yeah.
There was nobody else.
The league by itself, really. That's who I picked. And what's a shame for me is I didn't get to watch him play that much because, he retired, probably 88, maybe. I'm not sure exactly when he retired, but, he had that kick-ass mustache too, man. I hate the Phillies. Trust me, I hate them.
No, that's another one.
But damn, man, hit for power, 10 Gold Gloves. I mean, it's in league by itself. That's also who I picked. I didn't have as hard time with that. George Brett was my second guy. And if nothing else, over that pine tar incident, I thought that was great. And last person to hit 390 one season, Brett did. Just always liked him. Both those guys are what I would call.
Yeah, Brett would have been the second. in that era for sure.
Yeah. Those two guys are what I would call old school baseball players, right?
548 home runs.
Yeah. So most at the position by far, I'm sure. Well, that didn't juice. I didn't even have the juicer on my list, I don't think.
I think he retired in 89.
Okay, I knew it was.
But didn't play much at all. I mean, he only had 6 home runs that whole season, so
okay.
I'm sure he was riddled with injury.
Yeah,
and,
just
seems
like I heard him talk about that he just woke up one day and just felt like he couldn't hit anymore, something like that. It's like,
I definitely heard. I watched a thing the other day that, and we've talked about it before, but there's a YouTube series called Undeniable, and George Brett was on it, and he definitely said that. He said that for sure.
Okay, might have got them mixed up.
Maybe not. Maybe they, they're both kind of the same gritty type player.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just when you know.
Brett also got a World Series too. Saberhagen that year. They beat the Cardinals, right?
And the Phillies beat them in the World Series.
Beat the Royals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Willie McGee and that crowd. Vince Coleman.
Ozzie.
Another great shortstop. Arguably the greatest defensive shortstop. Probably not arguably, probably just is the greatest. But all around, golly, Mike Schmidt. Okay, so I guess let's finish the positions. Infield, catcher. Catcher's hard position. I mean, my God, can you imagine? I can't even bend over hardly to tie my shoes. These guys bend over. That's what they do for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, really, in my mind, you didn't get to see this guy play a lot either, but one of my favorite baseball personalities by far. Just a freak of nature, great arm.
Watch the show every Saturday.
Yeah. Just comical guy too, just personality, but just a physical specimen and the prototype catcher of all time, really. And that's Johnny Bench. I mean, got 2 guys from the Red Machine in my all-time list, Big Red Machine. And, I thought about Pudge Rodriguez, very close to Bench in skill set. Carlton Fisk, Carter, but Bench, I mean, and what a name. What a great name for a catcher. Johnny Bench, right? I mean,
yeah, it's great.
Come on. I mean, that's, was he could hold 8 baseballs in one hand? Wasn't that something
7.
like 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
But just,
incredible player. I mean, that's who I had too.
Wow.
Played 19 seasons with the Reds, 14-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, World Series MVP in 76, 10-time Gold Glove Award winner. That's humongous behind the plate. Had over 2,000 hits. Career. Bench was also known throughout his career for defense and having a strong throwing arm. They won 6 division titles, 4 pennants, and 2 World Series during all that time. And again, had a huge career as an influencer, I guess as we would call not an influencer, but as a star, a media personality.
As a stand ambassador of the game.
Yeah, but with they had he had a TV show for kids where he went over all the fundamentals.
I remember that.
Had the San Diego chicken. And of course, he was one of the first guys to ever really make money off of endorsements, big time. No runs, no drips, no errors with Krylon paint, State Farm. Just so many, he was just a beloved figure, not only in Cincinnati, like a lot of players are beloved figures in their their hometown as far as who they play for, but he really went out there on a national level too, as a personality and an ambassador of the game, as you said.
Yep.
All right.
What so
position you got
I
next?
guess outfield. We're into the outfield now. So left field. What do you got at left field?
This one was this one could have gone a lot of different ways, because there's a ton of different great left fielders, but the one who made the most impact on me and that I got to watch and seen the most, Ricky Henderson. 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, one with Oakland, one with the Blue Jays. One of your favorite years, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that sure was.
AL MVP in 90, ALCS MVP in 89, Gold Glove Awards, 3-time Silver Slugger Award, 12-time American League Stolen Base Leader.
And will never be touched in the all-time stolen base leader.
Not even close.
Right, all-time.
Yeah.
By a long shot, too.
Number 24 retired by the Athletics. Unfortunately, they won't retire their owner.
Yeah.
Who's a fucking Malouk.
Yeah.
But 1,406 career stolen bases, 2,295 career runs, and also had 130 stolen bases in a single season. He had a 279 lifetime average as a leadoff hitter. He hit 3,055 hits, career hits, 300 home runs, and batted in 1,115 RBIs.
And he talked about himself in the third person a lot.
Ricky was a bad man.
Ricky was a bad man.
And a fast man.
Boy, he was.
But I mean, those are some stats, man. Good grief.
Is that runs? Is that most all-time too? Is he leader all-time
I'm not
runs?
sure on that. I'll have to look it up.
Would make sense since he was obviously camping out at third base a lot. Yeah, Ricky's my number 2 guy. And it all boils down to this, and this is why. I heard somebody say one time that you might forget what somebody says to you, or you might, but you'll never forget how somebody made you feel. You ever heard anybody say that? It's like if you
say it again.
Okay, it's
I was
like
busy looking at
your memory. You might forget what somebody said to you, or your memory of a person might fade as far as your interaction with them, as far as what they said, but you will never forget the way somebody made you feel if you felt a certain way. And this next guy, controversial as he is in my opinion, the greatest baseball player ever lived. Now, controversial, obviously, statement, but my left fielder is Barry Bonds.
Yeah. What about his head?
Yeah, his head's big. Got an 8 size.
Does he get its own vote too?
Yeah, I think his head gets a vote. But
I think it started out as like a 6 and 5/8.
6 and 5/8 ended up being 8 1/4.
Yeah,
something like that. Now he's shrunk back down.
You're on the juice when your head starts growing. That's all I'm saying.
I saw a picture the other day with him and Ken Griffey together, and Griffey just looks like a monster. Barry's all shriveled up and little again. But you know what? And I saw this the other day on YouTube. A lot of the guys from that era, pitchers. And even position players, they all ask the same question: who's the best you ever saw? And every one of them said Barry Bonds. Juice aside, that stretch of time right there, all those intentional walks, all that, the guy was electrifying to watch.
Oh,
everybody turned that on to watch Barry hit it in the water.
Well, him and McGuire and Sosa saved baseball.
They really did. And that was exciting. I wanted to see that, especially during that era.
Juiced or not.
Right. And the guy was just a monster. in the modern era of baseball. You know, it's not like we're talking about 1927 Yankees.
Yeah.
This is modern era baseball, and the guy was unbelievable.
Well, and he was a better than good player in Pittsburgh.
God Almighty, he was a Hall of Famer.
You know what I mean?
He's a Hall of Famer. They won MVP in Pittsburgh. How do you win an MVP in Pittsburgh?
Of course, he was 132 pounds in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah. You know, got several Gold Gloves, but the guy was just a monster, man. You just can't. Nobody wanted to pitch against that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my guy. I know it's a controversial pick, but I'm also a firm believer in the justice system. And the guy, as far as the justice system goes, is innocent. So is Roger Clemens. Public opinion, not so much. So anyway.
Well, it's your pick.
Yeah, it's my pick.
You can be wrong.
I can be wrong. Ricky was my number 2, though.
Yeah. To answer your question, yes, he is the all-time runs leader.
That makes sense. I mean, leadoff guy.
Yeah, you would think.
You know, he's on second base. If he hits a single, he's on second base.
But, you know, in the same way Bonds, revolutionized the game and made it with the hitting and everything. That's the wrong word, but as exciting as he was with the long ball, you think about having a leadoff batter who was very close to being a 300 lifetime hitter, who not only could get on base, but could hit for power, and before you knew it, could be on third base with no outs, because he was so fast and he was so good at stealing bases. So,
and to play that long as a physical player.
And not just go into being a DH for 10 years of his career. He was a complete all-around ball player.
Yeah. And just a physical specimen too, man. My God.
But he reminded me like him, and like, so during those days, base stealers, obviously Ricky's the king, and we won't get too far in the weeds on this, but like physical specimens was another one, was like somebody like Tim Raines.
Oh yeah. They reminded me physically a lot of each
Dawson.
other. Yeah.
Of course, he didn't have the stolen bases. He hit the long ball a little bit more, but yeah, just specimens. All right. Center fielder.
Okay. Center fielder. You picked first line. This one was pretty easy, for me. I mean, this guy, would probably make some lists, even if you just opened it up to any era. But Ken Griffey Jr. changed the game. Really. I mean, when he came out, he had so much expectation on him and still just killed it, man. Prettiest swing of all time.
Just a natural stroke.
Yeah, absolutely a vacuum in the outfield too.
Yeah.
As good as Willie, as good as Andrew Jones. Those guys get mentioned defensively in the same breath. And, I mean, what happens if Ken Griffey Jr. Uses roids?
Yeah.
How many home runs the guy hit? See, the thing about the roids thing, public listeners, steroids doesn't make you hit the ball as far as hand-eye coordination. What it does, it allows you to play longer at healthier and stay healthy. And Griffey battled injuries late in his career. If he'd taken steroids to help him through a lot of that, my God, he did 1,000 home runs. So Ken Griffey Jr. certainly is my guy. Really, the second guy down my list is not even worth mentioning. So, I mean, it's just that big of a gap in the two.
Yeah, I had a tough time here. The second guy I had on my list was Kirby Puckett. And it was just because he was just that guy, man.
So fun to watch. Was electric.
Huge smile, great personality, good for the game. Small market team. But at any rate,
won a World Series, though.
Won a World Series, won two.
Yeah. But I can't Herbeck. Huh?
Yeah, that was a pretty good team. Had Knobloch on second, Herbeck, Viola on the mound.
Viola.
Gary, not Garagiola, but it's another Italian guy, Gaetti. Gary Gaetti.
Yeah.
But at any rate, my guy's junior as well, Ken Griffey Jr. Played with the Mariners, 89 through 99, and then again 2009 through 2010. I guess he retired a Mariner. Played with Cincinnati through 2000 to 08. And then with the White Sox for a year in 08, or unless I got that written down wrong, but
that sounds about right.
10-time NL All-Star or AL All-Star, 90 through 99. I mean, that in itself tells you what kind of popularity effect he had on the game. I mean, to make 10 straight All-Stars. All-Star MVP in 92, 3-time NL All-Star, 2000, and then in 04 and again in 07. 10 AL Gold Gloves, 90 through 99. There you go. There's your defensive prowess. 7 AL Silver Slugger Awards. And AL MVP in 97 and Hall of Fame in 2016. His career stats were 2,781 hits, 630 home runs, and 1,836 RBIs.
And came into the league with probably more expectations than anybody in our lifetime.
Sure.
Already, his dad played.
Son of a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So I think that
he got to play with his dad.
They both hit a home run in the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In Cincy.
They just, it was just in the league. But, a different story, different subject matter. But being a baseball card collector then and an enthusiast now, he had such high expectations coming in that, before him, you only had basically 3 manufacturers, Topps, Donruss, and Fleer. That was it.
Yeah.
Well, enter Ken Griffey Jr., and then now you've got all these other card companies that are hey, this is our cash cow. We're going to print.
Yeah.
We're getting into business now because this guy's going to sell a lot of baseball cards.
Yeah.
And he certainly did. But it flooded the market and kind of killed the baseball card market. Like Score was one of those card companies, Upper Deck, and so forth. But yeah, I mean, the guy's just could probably be on any list of any era. So that gets us to right field, and it's your turn to start.
Yeah, there was only one choice here. I mean, for me, you may have somebody different, but there was only one choice for me, and that's Mr. Padre, right fielder Tony Gwynn. Played for the Padres. Excuse me. Played for the Padres in 82 through 2001. 15-time AL All-Star, 15-time All-Star, voted in the Hall of Fame in 2007. Career stats were 3,141 hits, 135 home runs, and 1,138 RBIs with a lifetime batting average of 388. Or 338, excuse me.
338. And played for one team.
Played for one team. Seen an interview with Greg Maddux just the other day, and he said he was the most purest hitter that he had ever seen in his time in the bigs. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and obviously, him.
And Ted Williams, when he was still alive, said he was the best hitter in the modern day era, for sure.
And Ted Williams, even though he's a Red Sox, is, in my opinion, the greatest hitter of all time.
Yeah.
And if he says you are, you probably are.
Hell yeah. He'd shoot you if you didn't.
Yeah, that's right. And then
cut you off and freeze your head.
That's right. What's crazy is a lot of these folks that are, he died way too soon.
Yeah.
Puckett did too. It's just salivary gland cancer, something like that.
Yeah.
Just terrible. I've got him as my number 2 guy.
It's okay. It's just the second time you've been wrong today.
And I had to go with Ichiro.
Oh, well, yeah. That would be a good, yeah.
I mean, you talk about a guy that came over after having a great career elsewhere and still got 3,000 hits here. And just unbelievable athlete, that guy, man. I mean, he threw out a first pitch 2 or 3 years ago, and it's like 98 miles an hour. I mean, the guy's, 50.
I got to see him play in person twice. Both times while he was with the Marlins. And one was against the Braves, and then one was against the Nationals. But yeah, so I can say I actually seen him in person.
Did he get to win a World Series with the Marlins? Was he on one of those teams?
No, it was well before.
Okay.
That was well before I don't even know if he was in the league then.
Maybe not. I don't remember.
Yeah, we're in MLB.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how we got these Mariners on this list. I mean, to me, he's a Mariner, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
And I've even got, I've got another one on later on in my list too. And that team, you never got to see them play. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, when Griffey was there, of course, they had A-Rod too. Back when he was young, you got to see some of that. But anyway, that's who I had. It's Ichiro. So that takes us through the position players.
Well, let's, if you're ready for it, who have you got as your, now that we're in the world of everybody's got a DH, who's your DH?
Well, that's a tough one for me. I mean, because, how long did they play at DH? I start thinking in my head DH, especially as a kid, and I start thinking, oh, well, Jim Rice seemingly played DH.
Yeah, Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray and Eddie Murray. Don Baylor as well.
Yeah.
Of course, Big Papi. But for me, and here we go again, Edgar Martinez, man.
Yeah.
It's probably, and there's you go with another, I see him as a Mariner in my head, right?
Absolutely.
That guy was money.
That's who I got as well.
Oh, God.
I got his stats pulled up here. He hit 314.
Wow.
With 243 home runs. His best season was his first full year as a DH in 95. And he won the batting title with a 356 average and also had AL highs of 121 runs, 52 doubles, and on base percentage to finish third in the AL MVP voting. Overall, he finished his career with a 314, 418, 515 stat line.
Wonder who won the MVP that year.
I don't know.
His teammate?
What year did I just say 95? It was? 95. Let's see. Nope. Griffey won it in 97. We can pull it up and see, though.
Juan Gonzalez. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Rangers?
He just kind of disappeared.
Yeah. He won two, I think, MVPs. I just remember Martinez being clutch as hell, man. It's like, it's got to be hard. DH kind of gets a bad, oh, you're just a DH. I think about how hard that is.
Yeah.
To just sit on the bench and get up and perform 3 times a game.
Oh, your favorite guy won in 1995. Your favorite player. Mo Vaughn.
Oh, my God.
For y'all don't know, Mo Vaughn was a Red Sox, and Jamie loves
I love the Red Sox. My favorite. Let me tell you about that year, though. I remember that very plainly. Albert Bell got screwed.
Beat him out by 8 points.
Got screwed. I think Bell hit 50 home runs.
Yeah, he was a madman at one time.
And I had him on my list, down the list. He was like 4th left field. All right, so we're same DH. I guess that puts us into the pitchers. Pitchers was harder for me. I mean, there's been a lot of great pitchers in our day. But we picked 4 starters, and I picked 2 righties and 2 lefties. I don't know what you did.
It's exactly what I did.
Okay, good. Because that was the only way I could make any sense out of it.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
every team that is playing baseball today wishes they had a 4-man rotation that was 2 righties and 2 lefties.
That's right. The guy I picked as number 1 is, in my opinion, the greatest pitcher of all time.
Okay.
And that's Greg Maddux. What he was able to do by being an absolute prototypical control pitcher, is incredible.
Didn't have to throw it 100 mile an hour.
It's would tell you, I'm going to throw it right here and you're going to miss. That kind of guy. Won 4 Cy Youngs in a row.
Yeah.
I think he won 3 in a row with the Cubs.
4 consecutive years, 92, or he won 4 consecutive years, not the number 4, but FOUR. 93 through 95.
3 at the Cubs, 1 at the Braves.
Yeah.
And that was on a Cubs team that obviously wasn't knocking down championships. So you had to be, think about that. On the flip side of that, somebody like Nolan Ryan, who never won a Cy Young Award and always played for mediocre teams. So
go ahead.
But anyway, the guy's got 355 wins, something like that.
During those 4 seasons, Maddux had a 75-29 record with a 1.98 earned run average.
1.98 over 4 years?
Yeah, while allowing less than 1 base runner per inning. Yeah.
The guy was
win-loss record was 355 to 227. Earned run average. Why don't you just say ERA? Was 3.16 for a lifetime, and he had 3,371 strikeouts.
And the stat that's probably on down the list there: who is the all-time leader in most Gold Gloves by position?
Him.
Greg Maddux. 18 Gold Gloves at the pitching position.
4-time NL Cy Young winner, award winner, World Series champion 95, 8-time All-Star, and 4-time MLB ERA leader. Both in the Cubs Hall of Fame, Braves Hall of Fame, and Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah. That's my guy. That's my
same
number.
Here.
Okay, so that's you had him.
That's why I had all that stuff.
To me, he's the greatest pitcher of all time. Now, who knows? Greatest is relative, but man, to command. I mean, how many other people? Every opposing team would argue, well, they just expanded the strike zone. It didn't matter what they did. He could throw the ball where he wanted to throw the ball. End of sentence. That was it.
That was the thing. He could put it wherever he wanted it. He was never overpowering unless he had thrown you,
a change up
and 2 curveballs, and then he smokes you at
91 miles
91 on the outside that just caught about 3 centimeters of the black.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, and I heard him, he's got a lot of sayings and a lot of Greg Maddux stories, but one of them I heard him say, he said, I can throw harder, but why?
Yeah.
I don't need to. So,
yeah,
a lot to be said for playing smart and control. So, who's your other right-handed guy?
Oh, there was only one other to hit, and that was Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Win-loss record, 324, 292. Is that who you had?
No, I had him as second.
Earn run average of 3.19, strikeouts 5,714,
which is a record.
8-time All-Star, World Series champ in 1969 was the only one he ever got. 2-time NL ERA leader, 11-time strikeout leader. Retired with the Angels, retired number with the Astros, retired number with the Rangers. In all those Hall of Fames, and was also on the Major League Baseball All-Century team. 5,714 career strikeouts and 7 no-hitters.
7 no-hitters.
Inducted in Baseball Hall of Fame in 1999.
He's my sentimental favorite. Ryan is my second favorite ball player of all time, baseball player. Mattingly and Ryan. And Mattingly just because he played first, I played first. And he's a lefty. I really didn't have anything in common with him. But there's a lot of interesting. I've got a book that's about that goes through every Hall of Famer up till the 80s or something like that. And he's one of the narrators on the audio side of it. The guy is just an absolute ambassador for baseball. Dominant pitcher, probably the most feared pitcher of all time, certainly of this era, even more so than Gibson or Johnson or whatever. But I had to put him number 2, and
so you 3 times,
3 times wrong, yeah. And this hurt me right here because I absolutely hate the Red Sox with a passion, like despise them. But I had to go with Clemens because
he was a force.
He won 7 Cy Young awards. He's first person to strike out 20 in a game, and he was one of the guys during that era when I was collecting baseball cards that actually came through and became a superstar. Kirby Puckett was also one of those guys because you had all these rated rookies. And so like Corey Snyder. Corey Snyder was going to be the greatest thing ever. I had 17 Corey Snyder rated rookies. Ain't worth a dime. Wally Joyner. There's another name.
Yeah.
Pete Inclaviglia or whatever.
Inky.
Yeah. Who's the all-time leader in NCAA home runs?
Yeah.
I think.
Wow.
So all those guys, and you thought, oh man, this is going to be the next one. This is going to be the next one. But Clemens did it, man, and then he became a Yankee. So that helped my taste buds with him a little bit. But I had to go with Clemens. Innocent till proven guilty. Did he roid up? Probably so. Used to date Mindy McCready too. Remember that? Remember the singer Mindy McCready?
I'm sorry I wasn't listening.
This video shit's brought in a whole new level of sarcasm. But I had to go.
We're talking about a fucking Yankee.
Yeah, right. I had to go with Clemens. That was, and never really was like a huge. Oh, I love Roger Clemens.
Well,
but,
even his young career. When he was still in Boston. He was dominant,
man.
You remember that? He threw the ball at what's his face? What's the Paisan? Fucking God dang it! Played with the Mets. Played with Piazza. He threw that ball, picked that bat up and slung it at him.
Yeah.
Piazza was like, "What the hell is that?" And Clemens' response was, "I thought it was the ball." Right? Really?
Oh,
yeah.
He's a good interview to watch too. I watched him the other day. I think Joe Buck was interviewing him, and it was really good.
Maybe on that show, Undeniable.
I think it was, and he's very.
He does part of the interviews, and then Dan Patrick.
That is what it was. That's Dan sitting in like a chairs.
And I'm telling you, if you're a sports fan, honest to goodness, it's on YouTube. It's completely unfiltered, unedited. It's really, really great. And even if it's players that are people, I tell you, one of the best ones that I watched and what I was getting ready to say was, even if it's people that you might not have liked or may even disliked, or you wasn't a fan of or didn't know much about, but I watched the one with Nick Faldo and was blown away at his actual story.
Oh, I bet.
Because, he was always projected as the villain in golf.
Well, he was an outsider. He wasn't no silver spoon guy.
But no, he was far from silver spoon. I mean, any rate, it's great. I don't want to get in the weeds on that either. But
well, on top of what you just said, too,
just great.
If you're a sports fan at all, okay,
it's a story.
You need to listen to Dan Patrick.
Yeah,
Dan Patrick to me is the pinnacle of sports journalism. I can listen to him all day long on his shows on YouTube with video, of course. He's got a podcast and all this, but it's just fantastic. Guy's knowledgeable.
It's on Peacock as well.
Yeah, he is absolutely just the best there is at that.
I think so. And he's going to ask the questions that you wouldn't think about asking, and odd ones sometimes.
Well, and he's got the respect.
Yeah.
He everybody that comes to interview with the guys, he gets respect.
Yeah.
He's respected. And that's important. Just the vibe is really good on his show. All right, so left-handed pitchers. This was easier, especially in this era. I mean, big unit, Randy Johnson was my first left-handed pitcher. I don't see how you could not really.
No, mine too.
Put him on the list. I mean, the guy.
Mine too. Had a win-loss record of 303 to 166. ERA, lifetime ERA of 3.29. 4,875 strikeouts. Started his career with the Expos, and then went to Mariners, then the Astros, then the Diamondbacks, the Yankees, and back to the Diamondbacks and the Giants in the end. 10-time All-Star, World Series champ in 2001, another favorite of Jamie's. 5-time Cy Young Award.
That was the best year of my life. God.
5-time Cy Young Award winner, World Series MVP, Triple Crown, MLB wins leader in 2002, 4-time ERA leader, 9-time strikeout leader, pitched a perfect game on May 18th of 2004, pitched a no-hitter on June 2nd of 1990. And of course, numbers all retired at all the respected teams.
Second overall in strikeouts, too.
Yeah, and inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2015 with 97.3% of the vote. First ballot Hall of Famer.
And is now a sports photographer.
Yeah. And also threw a ball so hard one time that he made a bird explode.
Watch that. If you hadn't seen it on YouTube, watch it. He was tore up about that.
Yeah.
Because he was an intimidator. You know, he got up there and he was
6'10".
Yeah,
lefty, slinging 100 mile an hour.
Yeah, and just looked like he could bar fight.
Yeah,
you know, had that mullet and just looked
bad attitude.
But good dude, man.
Yeah,
it was all act. You know, he was upset about that bird. So that was my guy. Who did you have as your other lefty?
I had Tom Glavine.
So two of your four guys were on the same rotation at the same time.
Think about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And won one World Series.
Yeah.
That was hard to swallow.
What, like 14 pennants?
Yeah, I mean
12 or 14.
They won like 8 or 9 in a row.
Yeah.
Had Avery and him and Smoltz and Maddox.
Yeah.
That was their four.
Yeah. Pretty damn
so
good rotation.
So 3 out of 4 were our Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something I'll look up. Audience, find out if a starting rotation in the modern era has had all 4 people make the Hall of Fame. I bet that's not happened.
Yeah. Did Avery?
No.
Yeah.
The Mets team, Ryan and Seaver were both on that team.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2. My guy.
Real quick, win-loss record 305 to 203, ERA, lifetime ERA of 3.54, 2,607 strikeouts, 10-time All-Star, World Series champ in 95, 2-time NL Cy Young Award winner, World Series MVP also in 95, won 4 Silver Slugger Awards.
He was him and Maddox both could hit.
5-time NL wins leader, and of course, obviously retired. Number 47 retired by the Braves Hall of Fame. Inducted in 2014, another 92.9% first ballot Hall of Famer.
And should be.
Yeah.
Glavine was my second choice on my lefty list. And I went a little bit older school with this. Still hate the Phillies, but I went with Steve Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
Steve won 27 games one season. He's a 300-game winner, too. And for a while there was pretty dominant, really.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of got overlooked. But I went with Carlton. I went with Glavine second.
Nicknamed Lefty.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
So that's pretty strong rotation. We had Maddox and Johnson together, but you had Ryan. I'd take any of those 4.
Yeah, there's no.
I had Seaver. My second tier receiver, Ryan, Kershaw, and Glavine. Were my 2 other lefties. All right, so relief pitchers. This was hard because there's so many, and
yeah. I watched all these guys play, but I because there are so many, just kind of went off. This was a little bit, not all. It was just hard.
Yeah.
So it was a little stat driven for me in my picks. But who's go?
Okay, I'll go.
I picked a lefty and a righty.
I picked 2
as
righties.
A relief.
I didn't think ahead to do that, but I picked two righties as my starters. Goose Gossage is a guy I picked. Just edged out Lee Smith by a hair. Somehow I got to watch Lee Smith pitch a lot. I don't know why. At WGN, I guess. When he was with the Cubs, but Gossage had that mustache. He just was dominant for a while there. That's my starter reliever.
My reliever was I guess you could say I kind of went with one true reliever, and I don't know. I mean, the word reliever and the description of it nowadays is so, used to, there wasn't a middle innings. There wasn't a setup guy.
Right.
There was you called in the meat.
That's right.
And for a lefty, there was one guy that was truly great that I remember watching play, especially with the Mets, was John Franco, lefty.
Oh, God.
Lefty John Franco.
Played forever.
Yeah,
Right.
played from 1984 to 2005, 424 saves, which is fifth in Major League history, behind the other two guys on my list. And the most, but here's the reason why, and I didn't know this stat when I thought about him and then went to look at all of his stuff. I didn't know this stat, but was fifth most in Major League history and the most for any left-handed pitcher. Won a World Series in '86 with the Mets, 4-time All-Star, 3-time NL save leader, and postseason record of 2-0, 1 save, and a 1.88 ERA in 15 postseason appearances. Yeah, he was a stud. And a lefty.
And a lefty. I didn't think I had Franco on my list at all. No, I didn't. My other guy I picked is a right-hander, too, and that's Eckersley. Just
great pick.
And Eckersley was, if I remember correctly, was a starter turned reliever.
Yeah, came up in the Indians organization.
And
or no, I think he actually came up in Boston and then went to the Indians and then wound up. He probably journeyed a lot.
It says here,
who brought him up first?
Had success as a starter, becoming the first of two pitchers in Major League history to have both a 20-win season and a 50-save season in a career.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And you'll never see that again, ever.
His last appearance was with the Red Sox. His first appearance was with the Indians, but he did play with the Red Sox early as well. Yeah. So he's 6-time All-Stars.
I was close on it.
Won the Cy Young Award in '92 as the closer. And he won the Cy Young and the MVP in '92.
Wow.
Together. So,
and that's pretty special.
Yeah, pitched a no-hitter May 30th, 1977 as a starter. So, first ballot Hall of Famer. That was my...
You know, the only other player to record a 20-win season, and a 50-save season. One other player that did it.
Is it in our era?
Yeah.
John Smoltz.
Yeah.
I was going to say it.
A third Hall of Famer off the same
rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to start anymore. I'm going to close.
I'll
okay,
my shoulder
guys.
out, and I think I'm just going to golf and.
I enjoy listening to Smoltz too. He's doing a lot of casting as well. So, who's your other guy?
Trevor Hoffman.
Oh yeah. Well,
you know, played 18 years, 93 through 2010.
Second in saves.
Best known as a Padre. Included more than 15 years for the Padres. Hoffman was the Major League's first player to reach the 500 and 600 save milestone.
Yeah.
And was the all-time save leader until from 2006 until 2011.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure we got this one together, I would imagine.
Well, when you start talking for closer, which is
you
our
just
last,
name it, and I got his stats. Yeah. I can't see your list, but
well, I mean, closer.
I'm sure it's got to be
one guy, and it's Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, that's it. Rivera played 19 seasons for the Yankees.
Thank God.
And he holds MLB records for most saves, 652, and 952 games finished. Rivera was a 13-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, World Series MVP in 99, and 3-time MLB season saves leader, and Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer.
The percentage was like 99, too.
Yeah.
Always got to be that one that doesn't vote them in, the first ballot. That right there is a whole different podcast episode. But these sports writers voting for Hall of Fame, that shit needs to stop.
It's so popularity.
It's ridiculous. Is what
if somebody's given a bad interview or said something out of turn or, it's bullshit.
It took me nearly 20 years to forgive him for that blown save in 2001. 2001, Yankees are up. Game 7, Diamondbacks, Rivera comes in, and I go to sleep because I'm like, this is over. So Mariano comes in, it's over. I wake up the next day, and them damn Diamondbacks won the World Series. And see, I had to relive that shit again when they were in the series this year.
Think about Eckersley. He's the one who gave up the home run to Kirk Gibson.
That's true.
Who had an amputated leg and was on a crutch. And hit a home run.
Lasorda made the right call there. I remember watching that live. I watched that game live. I remember that. And I hate the Dodgers too.
And the call is unbelievable. If you haven't seen that, search Vin Scully and Kirk Gibson home run. It's unbelievable.
If you don't know who Vin Scully is is the greatest baseball announcer in history.
Yeah.
And it's
by far.
It's not even close. So, and we're talking about a guy that called Sandy Koufax and Kirk Gibson games.
And Jackie Robinson.
And yeah. So from 1940.
He started in 1959.
So he got to
57, I think it was.
So that was 10 years
as a
after
Dodgers play-by-play guy.
Robinson started in 47.
Yeah.
So that would have been 10 years in. It's a crazy stat about the Dodgers. Brooklyn Dodgers, whatever. They only won one World Series in New York. That's it. The rest of them have been in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, now they've been out there nearly 70 years now, so I guess that makes sense. But I thought that was crazy. I just felt like the Brooklyn Dodgers were like nearly the New York Yankees as far as, premier clubs, right? During that time. And of course, they were in Brooklyn when Jackie started, right? So they didn't move to out there to 55, 56.
No, it was like, I think
them and the Giants.
I think it was 57.
Yeah, right in there. Might have been about the time Scully started with them. So, and don't get us wrong. When we say we hate whatever, it's a rivalry thing. I can sit down and watch a Red Sox game and appreciate it. Matter of fact, I watched a lot of Red Sox games when they weren't playing the Yankees because we got NESN, New England Sports Network, and a lot of the Celtics games are on there, and the Red Sox games. And of course, the Red Sox were in that World Series that you just mentioned where Franco won. Well, Clemens lost, and Clemens was on that team. And when the ball goes between Buckner's legs and all that, so that was a big deal. But those moments, I remember that. That's a big moment in my sports historic life.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. So anyway, that's our team. That's our...
Who we leading this team? Who's your skipper?
Golly, man. We talked about this. We've talked about this many times. If I'm going to have one guy of that era, and that guy's going to manage this year, Sparky.
Yeah.
That's who I'm taking.
He was my second pick.
You pick Lasorda?
No, I picked Torrey.
What about you?
Well,
Jeez,
I hate him, but you got to give.
You do.
Unless you just want to be a complete asshole, that's just, you can't.
It's one thing to hate him.
Fuck Dale Earnhardt. But if I was starting a race team, that'd be the first guy I'd ask to drive for me. I couldn't stand him.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
I know.
But I have to give, you can't.
Well, if you got any sense about you whatsoever, just because
if you're
I
trying
don't
to be a reasonable person.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking hate Manny Ramirez with an absolute. That may be the guy I hate most. But I want that son of a bitch on my team because he is clutch.
Well, hey, man, Big Papi.
Well, yeah.
There was a 6-year period there that Martinez was the best pitcher to ever put on a pair of cleats.
Oh, yeah. And I hated him, too.
You know what I mean?
Boy, he was dominant.
But he came close to making my.
Oh, yeah. He's on my list.
He was so
third
good.
Or fourth. I got to see Big Papi play in the year he retired.
Really?
At Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium.
Sorry.
Yeah, and the Yankees won, but he hit a home run.
See,
it was perfect.
That's another thing. And I mean, I know I go on and on about hating the Yankees and all that stuff, but that's one more reason for me.
Because they tore down Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
Well, they're going to do that to Wrigley eventually.
Well, I mean, maybe
not
eventually,
this year, but
it's going to be many years to come.
Well, hell, that's the third place they've played.
I mean, they've put up, I know, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were introduced to that stadium as the house that Ruth built.
That's right.
The mystique, the ghosts in the outfield, all that horse shit we had to listen to.
Yeah. I got to see it. I didn't get to go in, but I got to see it before they did that. But, along those same lines, I obviously hate the Red Sox, but Fenway Park is a cathedral, right?
Well,
it's
the oldest.
Yeah, and Wrigley's second. Yeah,
and what's third? Do you know?
Comiskey?
Nope.
Oh, Dodgers.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
because that's their second home.
Yeah. And they've done so many different things to keep it there. I just appreciate that about the organizations too, that, I get it if it's just a crumbling mess, but listen, all the money New York's got,
they could have revived.
They could have done something.
Or they should have kept it and made it a museum or something.
Something.
Yeah, something.
I mean, but that
right there, and in closing, this is a good point to make. That's one of the reasons I love baseball most is the history. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't see it on camera, but you've got pictures of the Masters, Augusta National over here. Mm-hmm. And even though that golf course has changed a lot, it's still a historic landmark, man. It's just like Fenway and the old Boston Garden and, Soldier Field, places like that. So that's, I agree. I wish they hadn't done that. And of course, now it's all about the money. So really, but back to what you said earlier, you taking a storied franchise like the A's, Oakland, previous to that, Philadelphia, right? Athletics.
And then Kansas City.
Yeah. So, and can't manage a damn baseball team well enough.
And won 5 World Series. 3 of them consecutive. 72, 3, and 4.
Vita Blue.
Yeah.
Right. When
Dave
that era.
Kingman, Vita Blue, Joe Rudy.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie. Kingman.
Yeah.
Dave Kingman.
I mean, obviously, you can't control what the city does, and I understand that Oakland's not having its best century, but it just feels like they don't care. It's how I felt. I grew up just to get on football.
Best uniforms, too.
Oh, I love them.
The green and the gold.
Absolutely. Just classic.
They're classics.
But along those same lines, I like the A's just because McGuire and back when I was a kid. And
sure.
Canseco, all that, hitting the ball a long way. But just like with, let's say, the Redskins, I never was a Redskins fan, but when the Redskins and the Cowboys are good, it's good for football.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Just like when the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cubs are good, it's good for baseball.
Absolutely.
And you take an owner like the guy at the A's, I don't even know his name, or the guy at the Redskins, Dan Snyder, and you take a storied franchise who basically
and
owned the 80s with the 49ers and turn it into a pile of shit.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with it.
No, I agree 100%.
You know, at least some of these franchises like, well, you know, your point aside, it's like at least the Yankees, even though they tore down their landmark, are dedicated to winning.
Sure.
You know, they're not, hey, we just give up and fuck it.
It's only been a couple 20 years, but
true. And probably going to be another year after this year. They'll figure out some way to choke. So anyway, that's our baseball episode. Our best starting lineup.
The good guys starting lineups. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We'll tell you again that when you guys see this, we'll have a full band show at the Jig and Reel on June 14th, and then you'll be able to see us at, to see me. Jamie might be there, but I'll do a solo set on the last Friday of every month, which in June would be the 28th, down at Trailhead Tavern. Check out, again, Blank Newspaper or Blank News, inside of Knoxville with our good buddy Alan Sims, for all your local entertainment listings, as well as the Wednesday night songwriter sessions with Trisha Jean down at Maple Hall, and our good friend Jessica Watson doing the third Fridays, I believe, of Albright Grove.
It's either second or third. I can't remember. Might be the second. Forgive us, Jessica.
Yeah.
I think it might be the second. Seems like she posted something that see you tomorrow or something. So it might be the second. But anyway, your next show, your actual next show after this airs will be at Trailhead on the 31st of May.
Okay. All right. 31st
so
I was a little ahead.
So this will be posted before then. So,
okay.
And I will get to be at that show. So come out and see us. Sit down, shoot the shit with us, have a cigar with me, and we can make fun of Mike while he sings. And have a beer or two and have a good old time. So,
you want to do another one?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Enjoy baseball season. Enjoy life. Be kind to one another. Cheers. One more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find.